Welcome and thank you for checking out my channel. This is a series on how to use the nuclear war simulator. I've gotten this several questions in the comments for people that have the simulation and they're having struggles with being able to use it because yes, there's some tutorial videos, there's some other stuff you can find, some even built in, you can see here on the left. Excuse me. But as you get more advanced, there's a lot of stuff that's not explained well. So I'm going to start with the basics. Each video is going to be relatively short and it's going to work its way into more advanced topics. So start with just navigation. First thing I want to call out, if you haven't seen this before, is, and I'm on the settings right now, download mods. It's right here on the left, below escape to desktop. Click on that, and there's several mods you can subscribe to and automatically load it in. This is page 5. World 14, I highly recommend. Person that made this mod, Michael Corrigan 171, he did an excellent job of placing bases at their pretty close to their actual realistic locations. So I use that as a baseline for a lot of things. So let's talk about a simple scenario and test. Come right here and click on new scenario. Sorry, let me default. And this will be the screen you get. And you'll be somewhere in the world. So let's navigate. So let's say you're from Columbus, Ohio, and you want to test out a nuclear missile. Simplest thing, a single detonation. So you can be very generic. You could just use this map, look at it, click, left click single detonation. Right now this says United States of America at the top, so this would be warheads that the U.S. either has currently or does have. Let's say you want to test a Russian warhead. Then you can click this drop-down menu and choose one of their warheads. So let's go with their newest one, their Sarmat. This will fill in the information. The yield, 500 kilotons, which you can adjust that. Give you a frame of reference. The atomic bombs for Hiroshima and Nagasaki were roughly somewhere between around 10 to 15 to 10 to 20 kilotons. Let's say that range. So this would be a magnitude larger than that. And then this right here will tell you accuracy, dispersion, CEP in meters, number of detonations, wind speed, wind direction, and wind shear. What do these matter? Well, if you have fallout, wind speed and wind direction definitely matters. So if I say the wind is blowing this way and I were to detonate it here, fallout would go here and miss a large portion of the city. Now, if I were to detonate it here, fallout would then carry it across right around the I-70 belt line pretty much. This is utilizing the wind database. That's where you get some of this information. So let's just start right here. And I'm going to point and click. And now you have a detonation. And then if you look at the right, click on calculate. And it'll show you for casualties, 311,511. There's different things here. The one's clicked right now is population density, so you can have that go away. Casualty densities. So you can already see the densest amount of casualties is where it exploded, but you also see it carry over. Why is this lighting up right here? Because that would be either Newark or Zanesville. Newark. And so that's one of the more heavily populated areas once you get east of Columbus until you get to Zanesville. And then you can click on physical effects. This just shows you with the bomb and the different radiuses for the different levels of destruction. Fallout dose. This is going to show you the fallout. And of course, as you expand, it's going to be less and less deadly. This is going to be your areas that will produce the most amount of casualties from fallout. And then fires. Sometimes it helps to unclick some of the other stuff. So that's the simplest terms, single detonation. So let's look at it another way. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a new scenario just to kind of reset things. Let's say you want to test, will you survive or not? And this is, again, just take it as rough. Will you survive? This is not meant to say, hey, well, if this actually happens, I'll be fine, because there's a lot of nuances here. So you want to test out, and you can do that by placing an individual. So let's say, okay, well, you live in Columbus, but you can't really, where do I actually live? Say I live on Maplewood Avenue on the east side. Well, where is that? You might have a rough idea, but if you click here on the right-hand side, the stack of papers, it'll switch between map styles. So now you have a much better idea. You can see, okay, here's the outer belt, 670. This would be National Road. This would be Broad Street. You can get more detailed. And by doing that, this magnifying glass, left click. This will take a second. Once it does, it'll actually give you streets. Now, if you scroll 20 to 30 kilometers away, this will exit this mode. So you got to stay kind of close or exit this mode. So we can see here, Maplewood. So let's say you live on Maplewood and Doney. So you want to place a figure there. Come here to individuals, left click. Let's move it so we can see. And then you want to left click new. And then left click on the map. And now you have an individual there. So right now this has a person in the open right around the corner of Maplewood Avenue in Doney. So let's say, okay, well, you want to test if you're in a house. When the person's highlighted, left click in the open. And then you can choose. Do you want them in the open? Do you want them in a vehicle? Is that vehicle moving? Do you want them in a wood frame house or a wood frame basement? A brick building, 2-story with a basement, 3-story, and a reinforced concrete building. So let's just say a 1-story frame building, not in a basement. On a flip side, let's say on Yearling Avenue, right by Ange Pizza, you want to place another person. So left click on individual. Here's the important thing. You want to come down here. You want to make sure new is highlighted again. And now you place a new person. Again, you can decide where do you want that person. So in this instance, say you have, this is going to represent your girlfriend, wife, mother, daughter, who's in a car traveling to Ange Pizza to pick up a pizza while this happens. Let's zoom back. So where is the bomb going to land? We're going to make it land in the same place. Well, not say the same place, but let's just say we'll go for right here. Right here in the center. Let's go for a single detonation. Choose a warhead. Sarmat. Zoom back. Calculate. Okay. So we can see here with this 500 kiloton bomb, where you live would be right at the very edge of the explosion. And where your partner would be just outside of that, although you do have fallout. But being in a building will protect you from some level of fallout. And again, you're kind of outside the worst of the fallout range. So what does this tell us? So what you can do is right click, and now you can see the individual. Let's start with her. In stable health, nothing to report. Now, the person in the vehicle, first degree burns, minor skin injury similar to a sunburn, immediate pain followed by the reddening of the skin. After some hours, the affected skin returns to normal. Now, more than likely, you would survive in somewhat the immediate aftermath. It doesn't get into the effects that food would be scarce, medical supplies would be non-existent, a lot of other things that could lead you to having some real bad days in the very coming future, but in that immediate aftermath, you would likely survive. Now, if you were here, or say you lived north of the airport, or say you lived in Pataskala, north of 16 on 310, you're going to die. So a lot of this depends on where it is. So that's a basic use for the nuclear war simulator. So we'll move on to lesson 2.